Some wild internet rumors have surfaced around the Chicago Bears when it comes to Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus, specifically both on the decision to keep Eberflus and what's going to potentially happen moving forward. We're going to dive into it here on Chicago Bears Now. Before we do all of that, help us out. Subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 110,000 subs ASAP. We're at 109 and change. If you want free and daily Bears content, if you want to be tapped into a coaching search that is inevitably going to come, we got you covered on a daily basis because we've done it before and we'll do it again. Sub to the channel. We'll see you guys moving forward here on Chicago Bears Now. Let's go. I'm Harrison Graham. Some wild Bears rumors have surfaced from a Twitter account named Sears Tower, who has leaked some interesting Bears rumors. And I was like, I feel like I know that name. I'm going to look into this. Found a Reddit thread, and some other people on Twitter have been talking about it. So who is Sears Tower? A Twitter account during NFL free agency that got some Bears scoops, some other NFL free agency scoops, kind of like Pretty Ricky, if you guys are familiar with him. He left Twitter, and now he appears to be back. Now, couple disclaimers here. One, everything he's saying, this is very much in the rumor category. It's speculation. This is not sourced from Adam Schefter or anything like that. So that should be out there. And two, technically, we don't even know if this is the same Sears Tower guy, so I was hesitant to do this video, but he's dropped a lot of information on both the Bears and the Giants today that I find pretty interesting, and that if you kind of connect dots, make some sense. So we'll kind of react to it and give our thoughts on it. And obviously, you know, it's wild Bears rumors for a reason. We'll see where this goes. All right, number one, Matt Eberflus will be fired. Number two, Ryan Poles will be back. Now, this is the not surprising part of these rumors. Like, I think most people expect Matt Eberflus to be fired. And I think, or really all people, and I think most people think Ryan Poles will be back. This was the first tweet he had since resurfacing. Talking about the Giants as well. Dable out, Shane out, Flus out, Poles safe, Todd Bowles safe. That was his first tweet, and everybody's like, Sears Tower is back, and he's got plenty more to follow, so we're going to dive into that. This is not the wild part of this video. I think the safe bet, if you were a betting man, on what the Bears are going to do with the structure of their organization is they will fire Matt Eberflus and they will keep Ryan Poles and give him a second chance to hire a coach. I think that's the safe bet. Now, could they fire Poles? Yes. Could they keep Flus? I actually don't think that's even a possibility at this point. But I do think what Sears Tower is saying regarding your head coach and GM, Flus and Poles, Flus out, Poles in, I think that would be the betting favorite at this point in time. All right, this is when it starts to get interesting. Did Kevin Warren want Matt Eberflus fired in 2023 at the end of last year when Warren had been on the job a few months, when we know he took place in those conversations with Ryan Poles and ownership on terms of what direction they're going to go in? Well, Sears Tower says that he did. He said Warren wanted Eberflus gone. Poles was adamant on keeping him. Warren deferred to Poles last year because of his experience, but it sounds like Warren has taken a more prominent role now. More on that in a minute. Regarding Flus, Poles and Warren are in lockstep about firing him. So he's basically saying two things. One, if it was Kevin Warren's choice alone last year, he would have fired Matt Eberflus. Two, Kevin Warren has a more prominent voice now. And three, Poles and Warren, at this point in time, according to this guy, are on the same page about firing Matt Eberflus, which is why I do wonder, could this happen after Thanksgiving? Now, you guys know where I stand. Regardless of this reporting, leaked info, whatever, they absolutely should have fired Eberflus after last year. I said it at the time. I'm saying it now. It's not revisionist history. Go back and watch videos. He should have been gone. They should have taken a swing at Jim Harbaugh. They did not do that. We know how this is all played out. The resume has continued to stack against Matt Eberflus. It hasn't been good. It's been ugly. And that decision, whether it's truly was Ryan Poles alone, which, by the way, DeBear's blog recently said it was, has not paid off. That decision has not paid off. Now, regarding this Kevin Warren situation, I'm conflicted about this idea that he's got a more prominent role and voice in that building, because on the side of I'm somewhat optimistic about it. Would you rather have Kevin Warren or George McCaskey have a larger role in who they bring in next? I'd rather have Kevin Warren. I mean, George, since firing Lovie Smith, it's been complete whiffs. But on the other side, it is a weird structure within the building. Most GMs in NFL buildings, they report to the owner. Kevin Warren's kind of this intermediary, and we always talk about this. Are there too many cooks in the kitchen? Now, if George just isn't involved and he's just writing the checks, I guess it's fine. But how much control is Kevin Warren going to pull? Is he going to override Poles on football decisions? Because whether or not you trust Ryan Poles at this point, football decision-wise, he is a football guy with a football background. Kevin Warren is a business guy with the business background. Granted, sports business, but to me, his main role is to A, give you a little more stability instead of the McCaskies, and B, get the damn stadium figured out. That is his primary role right now. So if he's going to interfere too much in these football affairs, now, to be fair, Sears Tower even said it, if it's true what he's saying, that he wanted Flus out, but he let Poles make the decision, it's like, okay, that actually gives me, some belief like, okay, he's going to have a voice, but Poles will control football ops. Sears Tower also said that he has a more prominent role now. So it just could get interesting when you start interviewing these coaches, like how much influence is Kevin Warren going to have to say? I'm not saying Poles should have 100% autonomy on who they bring in next. He's settled on Matt Eberflus, clearly a bad decision. But it just, the structure's a little weird. I think it's fair to bring that up. Do you want Kevin Warren more involved than he's been up to this point? Type Y for yes, type in for no. I'm conflicted on it. You guys let me know in the comment section below. All right, let's talk about our sponsor, Prize Picks, here on today's show. Daily fantasy made easy at prizepicks.com/CLNS. 10 million users and counting are playing Prize Picks in North America and more than 30 states. You should be one of them. Check it out. Take advantage of our deal, which is a $50 bonus once you set your first $5 lineup. Doesn't matter if you win or lose that $5 entry. You're going to get an additional $50. And on top of that, we got a Thanksgiving special for you guys as well. Tyreek Hill, you just take the more on half a receiving yard on Thanksgiving. That gets you halfway home to a 2-player entry that you could win. 2 to 6 players on your lineups. The more players you have, the more bang for your buck, obviously, that you could win. But 1 receiving yard and you're halfway to a victory, which is absolutely awesome. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS to get started today and get that $50 bonus once you play for $5. New customers only. Go check out PrizePicks today. That link is in the comments and in the description of this video. It's PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS. This is another interesting angle. Apparently, again, this Sears Tower, speculation, all that stuff, disclaimer. Apparently, Ian Cunningham also was in the we should get rid of Matt Eberflus camp. Here's what Sears Tower had to say on that. Ian Cunningham wanted Eberflus fired as well. This was a Poles hire through and through. He is now reaping the repercussions. If true, this one's actually perhaps the most shocking because Cunningham and Poles, they're best friends. Now, that doesn't mean Cunningham hasn't, challenged Poles. We heard about the draft night thing. Poles was interested in trading up for Dunze. Cunningham pushed back, said, let's play this out. That's what they ultimately did. He fell to 9, and they got him anyway. But that is pretty interesting if it's true that Cunningham even told Poles, like, hey, I think you should change coaches here. Because if that's the case, that means that Poles truly was on an island and wanting to keep Matt Eberflus. I mean, maybe George McCaskey wanted to keep him, but he doesn't. He doesn't know what he's doing. So, I do think that's an interesting angle if his right-hand man, the assistant GM, also wanted him out. Lastly, kind of circling back to the second point, it does seem like Poles will get a second chance, and I've thought all along, regardless of how this Flus thing plays out, he will get a second chance. He had a tweet on this here saying, Poles is getting another chance because he's done a tremendous job of being honest and critical with himself and Bears leadership. He has admitted what and how went wrong with the Flus hire and has already begun to lay out clear steps to make the right hire this upcoming cycle. Now, what is that? Should we trust Poles to hire the right guy? Is there got to be a collaboration with Kevin Warren and potentially others? Who knows? But it sounds like, not just based on this, but I think just connecting dots, hearing from people in NFL circles that Poles will get another crack. Most GMs do get 2 cracks at hiring a head coach. And it seems like Ryan Poles is going to. What say you? Should he get a second chance? Because some would argue bringing Eberflus back was the second chance. Type 1 for yes, type 2 for no. What say you when it comes to Ryan Poles? Here's my take. Keeping Eberflus was an all-time bad call. It was. To me, it was clear at the time. If you're going to change quarterbacks, you need to change head coaches. Well, he didn't do that. Does that mean that decision alone should get him fired? Not necessarily. But if they did fire him, I would not blame them. Now, do you want to have to do a full reset, new GM, new coach? Because then you're, player personnel, does the new GM want completely new players in the team? I don't think you want a full reset here. Ryan Poles, I think from a roster building standpoint, has done more good than bad. Now, that doesn't mean he's been perfect. Some of these guys that we thought would be further along aren't. But I still think he's got a passing grade in that regard. So I'm okay bringing him back, but I'm not as strong about it as I was even just a few weeks ago. He deserves some blame in how this thing has gone. It's year 3, and the Bears have gone 3-14, 7-10, and now they're 4-7. And his biggest decision up to this point, you could argue, was a 2-parter. Picking Matt Eberflus and keeping Matt Eberflus. Now, maybe making the Caleb decision is the one that matters the most long term? Who knows? But I'll tell you this, you better get the next coach right because this is the most critical hire in the history of the franchise. Who is going to be Caleb Williams' next coach? Ideally, it's someone for the next decade plus. Can he get it right? Can him and Kevin Warren do it? Is it just those two? Or will others get involved? Because you cannot afford to miss here. It's very cut and dry. You have to hire the right coach. All right, there you have it. Wild internet rumors. Don't think there's going to be the end of it. By the way, he even added a Ben Johnson one that we might discuss on another video, so stay tuned for that. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. We're here every single day, baby.